Oh boy, all right, it's the domino the entire league has been waiting and waiting and waiting to see if it falls. So back here with our...
Giannis is now ready and prepared for a trade from the Milwaukee Bucks.
You sure about that?
So the NBA trade deadline has now come and gone, and I have a lot of thoughts on the matter. So first off, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. I didn't for one second think that the Giannis sweepstakes were actually real for them. The fact that they were trying to include Jimmy Butler in those trade discussions as a major centerpiece was laughable, to say the least. Jimmy was going to be 37 years old by the time he returns from his torn ACL, and so I made a video fairly recently saying that I thought the Warriors were done. I don't think this team has any chance of contending over the next couple years. And honestly, if Steph would like to contend, he might need to think about, his future being someplace else. Now, although I didn't see them getting Giannis, the move they ended up making, it seemed pretty desperate. So they gave up Buddy Hield and they gave up Jonathan Kuminga, which I'm sure they're glad to put that chapter behind them. But in return, they got Kristaps Porzingis, which is one of the most shaky players that you could bet on at this point. The guy has played over 70 games in his NBA career in only one season, which was his rookie season back in 2015 to 2016. And since then, he's only had 3 seasons in his 10-year career where he's played at least 60 games. If there was anything that this old Warriors team didn't need, it would be more frailty and more wear and tear. As I alluded to earlier, Giannis is now staying put in Milwaukee, Shams' credibility is on life support, and social media is absolutely roasting the Greek freak for his quote fake loyalty. I gotta say, this Wolf of Wall Street meme that he used did make me cringe a little bit. Not just for the fact that he wanted to see his options and then after the trade deadline is over with, he's acting like he never thought about leaving in the first place, but it's also about what he said and how I think it's tactically not a good decision. So his quote is, "Legends don't chase, they attract." Well, by saying that, he basically said that whoever was to join him in Milwaukee isn't a legend, because they would be attracted to his destination. Way to undercut your recruitment pitch before you even really get it started. One of the bigger bits of news was James Harden going to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I gotta say, although that might be exciting for some Cleveland fans, I do ultimately think this is a somewhat puzzling decision. James Harden is 36 years old, and as we all know, he has a long history of coming up small in the NBA playoffs. What Cleveland needed was some guy with some veteran experience that could help them win in the playoffs, not somebody to seal their second round exit. They traded away Darius Garland, who has been on and off the court with injuries, but still, Garland just turned 26, and if his health gets right, he can still be very effective for teams for many years into the future. You can't say the same about Harden, who might be retired 3 years from now. I will say though, this does kind of feel like a win now move coming from Cleveland, and it does have me putting on my tinfoil hat. I'm wondering how sure they feel about LeBron James coming in the offseason next year after he's finished up his contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. If you believe the reports, apparently LeBron and the Lakers have already settled on their eventual divorce. And if there's anything that we know about LeBron James, is that he doesn't like playing with young and inexperienced players. So going out and getting another veteran star player does seem like something that could help appease James. I understand there's a lot of money being committed to this Cleveland Cavaliers roster, but honestly, I don't think that really matters. I think LeBron finishing out his career next year in Cleveland is just a matter of time. I have not for one second believed that this could be his final season. There is absolutely zero chance that someone who loves attention as much as LeBron James does is going to retire from the NBA without getting a full season of a farewell tour. Then that brings us to Anthony Davis, who got traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Washington Wizards. And this was certainly a wild and unexpected trade. In hindsight, this is going to put the final nail in the coffin of what a lot of people believe was the worst trade in NBA history when Luka Doncic was traded in the middle of the night for Anthony Davis. Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks traded away a prime Luka Doncic in his mid-20s after he had just taken them to the NBA Finals And in return, they got a grand total of 29 games from Anthony Davis. Absolutely brutal, and now AD is going to play in Washington, where a lot of people are thinking he'll be starting his Shaq in a Celtics jersey phase of his career. As someone who was rooting for AD on my Lakers for many years, I just can't get over the fact of how quickly things changed for him. After the 2020 NBA championship, we were talking about him being the future and the face of the franchise after LeBron James retired. And then of course, because he's LeBron, he just kept playing and playing, so AD never got to be embraced as that guy. Then he gets traded for Luka out of the middle of nowhere, and now he finds himself in an organization that, at least in recent history, has been one of the worst in the entire league. I also really feel bad for Klay Thompson. This guy had to pick between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks, and he picked the Mavericks despite his father being incredibly upset about it. And not only does Luka get traded away from the Mavericks to the Lakers, but now the guy they got in return isn't even on the roster anymore. If this NBA trade deadline has taught us anything, it's that you shouldn't take your glory days for granted, because everything can take a horrible and traumatic turn within a matter of moments. So what do you guys think? Are you happy with how your team handled the NBA trade deadline? Personally, it felt like my Lakers didn't do too much, as we got Luke Kennard in return for Gabe Vincent, but it kind of feels like Los Angeles is just waiting for the LeBron James era to wrap up anyway. That way they'll have the money to truly start their rebuild. Shout out to the members as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.